Okay, that was great. Let's push it forward. We'll figure out how to do that. We'll get the posts ready and post today, which is exciting to get some business from Mama Bird interviews. Now I want to switch our um, minds to Mama Bird Media and how we can grow that as fast as possible. And obviously, this will have an impact on Mama Bird interviews too. And I feel I've got a good idea about how we can do this. We need a video to get big social media following, to get big YouTube following, subscriptions, to get media coverage. I feel we need a viral video of some kind. And what we're doing is not like sensational enough to do that, I feel. The 100-year-old I thought would go viral. I've had multiple videos, and our daughter's video did go viral, but we partnered with a company on it. We didn't make it go viral ourselves, and it was a short clip. So what we're doing is not lending itself to that. But I do think that we have the potential to have a viral video, and Yusura, it's based on you and being valedictorian. You have given your valedictorian speech. How many people have heard your valedictorian speech? 0. So you worked your ass off your whole life to get to the point where you're at, and you're valedictorian. You're a shy person. You weren't a shy person, then you kind of became a shy person and introverted. Put yourself out there to give this speech, and no one has heard it at all. I would love to hear it, and I'm sure it's amazing. But I think there's, again, seeing opportunity in tough situations is something that I really want to encourage you to do. And I believe there's a huge opportunity, not just for your peers to now see your speech, but for the world too. And this is going to push you even more out of your comfort zone, accelerate your growth. And it's not just going to help you, it's going to help all of us. And so Proctor just, and I want you to talk about that in a little bit later, but is partnered with some people that are going to have her make a promotional video for their wedding dress company, and they're amazing. And we need to interview them, Proctor, and have them share their learnings with our community. But what I'm getting at is Proctor's going to come borrow this video equipment that I have that's really good video equipment. And so what I would like you guys to do is, Yusura, I want you, and this is something you can work on next week or however long it takes, but the urgency is an issue with this because graduation's happening and people are going to move on to other things. The story that you are, didn't get to share your graduation video, which wasn't your fault. This is a COVID thing, but also, again, you're at a school where that didn't happen, and that sucks too. And that's a story that people would want to support. I talk about privilege a lot, and Yusura, when you talked about it, the first thing people see about you is your hijab, and they judge you for that in so many ways. And then I believe probably next is race, and then probably next is gender. All those things in this situation, in a viral situation, are privileges, are advantages, because people will watch you. People see right away in this thumbnail who you are, and people will say, this is not what I'm used to seeing from a valedictorian, what I'm used to seeing from this country in so many ways. Like there's huge value for that. And so that's also something that's uplifting and inspiring, and people will want to support. And so the other part of it is what you need to do is you need to, and you've got, think of the women you have that can support you and write the most amazing speech ever, is you need to write the most amazing speech ever. You need to write a speech that's inspiring to your peers. You need to figure out ways to include what we're working on here in it, and how that's changed you and empowered you. You need to write about a future that you see where women like you are running it. You can shout out people that you've connected with, like that councilwoman from Minnesota, who I'm sure is dealing with stuff. I wanted to reach out to her because all that stuff's happening there now too. And so I think this is a huge opportunity. I think this can get worldwide media attention and go big. And I think the opportunity of that, and then Proctor can also produce something with the equipment we have where it's really high quality. Your model shots that you used on your graduation day, in your cap and gown. I forget, you had, I think, a bright pink hijab or something like that, and your hat on. Like, you look good. You look good. You're going to feel good. You, again, when you have your attitude, are like unstoppable, right? And so when you get this, and the neat thing about this to me, and which is better for you, I think, and I think you can nail it in one take, but you don't need to. So you can do multiple takes, and you can be doing it multiple times and find the one you like best. You and Proctor can work together and add music behind it so it's more emotional and ringing true. We can add text below it so that people can read this as well. And then we share that with your class, right? and we can put it on our Mama Bird Media website or YouTube site, and then that's how we get likes on that. We can have a great title like the Valedictorian speech I never got to give, something like that. All this to me is something that the world needs, and a way for us to get the attention that you all deserve to grow this thing. And you talk about accelerating this process, and I hope we're not scared of that anymore, because I don't think we can be scared of it. Basically, like, what a good problem to have. And so now we have eyes on us. We're like all this, and if it doesn't work, you've given a great speech that when it does work, that we can share in that capacity, or you just share it with your peers, and that makes a huge difference. So, Yusura, what's your reaction to doing that?
I'm willing to try and do it.
Yusura, what's your reaction to doing that? What are you scared of? What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Why not be excited about this? Why do you think that you're not capable of doing this? Are you scared about the attention that it would bring to you?
Yeah, I think it's just the attention of it all. I don't know. I think like I said, I'm willing to like try and do my best on it.
And that's a neat part of this too, is you can do this and do your best, and then you can see it and you can make the decision if you want to go there with it, right? So I think you're a very thoughtful person, and so things probably build on you. So me springing on you in this moment's not the right way to try to. I want you one day to just jump into things and know you're amazing and know you have such value to give to the world and that will inspire others. I'm sure all of you have had moments where you've seen yourself represented in places that you hadn't before, and the impact that had on you. And for young women of color at home, for young Muslim women of color at home, for Muslim Americans, like young women in general, you can really be an inspiration to them. And I think that could be, again, just good for the world, and then also good for our company so that we can do more good for the world. And so that's the way I've thought of it. If that doesn't work, we'll find another way. Slow and steady wins the race. And so building over time is an option too, and we can go big. But I think that's something that we would get local press on. I think it's something that your message could then be shared. So think that big. If you have a platform of the young women of this country, what would you say to them? And that's literally who your peers are, right? You've said so much, and I could put it together for you. My first thought was to actually just edit all the stuff that you've told us together in a way that people can see. So the fact that you have said multiple times that you know many different young women of color who all have unique talents, but they don't have the access to the world they're going to benefit from those talents. So often they're then not pursuing their dreams, or they're having to work in a field that they don't like, or whatever it is, like all that you could help open doors for them, and use now your platform to do that. And then also inspire them, and really speak to whoever you want to speak to with this. And again, something that started out as something that sucks can now turn to something that's great. So that's a neat thing too, is I think there's a real big opportunity for that. Proctor and Janine, what are your thoughts?
I encourage all of us to kind of dive in deep to why we are feeling sometimes intimidated. Something that my therapist says quite often, because I use it very often. I when she asks me a tough question, I revert to saying, well, I don't know. And she likes to say, well, Janine, that's a cop-out. Dive in deep. Tell me why, So I guess that's kind of not less of a call out and more like I find you women so inspiring, and I see you guys doing such great things, and I see myself. Sometimes it's harder to view yourself in that light, and it's easier to view other people in that light, But I honestly see you guys as these strong women who are rocking the world, rocking your shit, you know, like kicking up dust, making change. I believe in you guys. And I hope that at some point we can all believe in ourselves that way as well. And I know I need to check myself too on that, but I think that your story, Yusura, and your valedictorian speech has the potential to go viral. I mean, you're going to do your best, and you're going to, like I said, rock your shit. So I guess it's kind of sad when you say, oh yeah, you know, like I'll try, because then you're taking so much away from yourself than what you are truly like capable of. And I know that I also need to learn what I'm preaching. It's easier said than done, but I want you guys to know that you guys are amazing. So, and I also had something else to say, but I forgot. It'll come back to me in a little while.
I want to say I also think you guys are both amazing, and I understand that it's difficult to be vulnerable, because I'm the same way too. Like I've always like just not wanted to express how I feel about things, but I also feel like sometimes it is important, and like it does take a certain level of confidence to be vulnerable, but sometimes you just have to kind of put yourself out there, and like especially if it's for a good cause, because like you will be an inspiration to a lot of people, and so I feel like it's not like it's good, like it's for a good reason, and you don't have anything to fear for, because it's gonna have like a good impact on the world.
And I want you to look at stuff like this for yourself too. And I think one of the things that you talked about in your interview that I loved was, as you progressed through school, you started to look out for yourself more and started to realize that you can't be everything to everybody, and that you can't, and you surrounded yourself with friends who believed in you and told you to put yourself first in a lot of ways. And so this is an opportunity where you would, if this works, and I think it'll work, and even if it doesn't go viral, it's really not the point of all of it, right? You will have something that you're proud of. You will have something that is a time capsule for you in this moment that honors the work that you've done and that inspires others. If anything, and it's going to inspire us three at a minimum. And beyond that, it's going to inspire your classmates. And I think it goes way further than that. And then what happens in that situation is you're writing your own ticket. Again, you're starting your own business, and people will want to be paying you to do stuff. Like if this is successful, you could be getting paid to speak right now, and you could be joining Zoom meetings where they're paying you a lot of money to speak right now and talk to you about things. And the potential for you, and you really don't look at yourself as you look at your family too, and that this can change things for your family, that's something that can happen. And if you have that kind of, I think the fears in a lot of ways, it brings on more, and we still need to find someone like of who the person is, the expert, to talk about how we deal with racism online and all these other things. And that woman that that Peter connected with us, who's amazing, young Muslim woman, doctoral student, she wants to talk to you too. And maybe she's something that you could ask about this and that too. And with that, what I'm trying to say is that you're doing it for yourself. And if you get a broader kind of, it could have negatives in the way that, and I think that would be my fear for you. And I think that's your fear, is this could negatively affect me. This could negatively affect my family in different ways. But I think that when you have that much credibility now with the world, everyone's going to come and be like, oh my gosh, what can you do for us? And that there's pressure that comes with that too. But you can do a lot of great things for a lot of people, and you will. And so giving yourself that platform, and I kind of look at this like this moment with this company this is the only time this can happen. This is your one shot at this, like Eminem says, and you have the chance now. If we do this in 3 months, maybe it could be viral, but right now is a time where it can be. Deadlines are really important and force you to get stuff done. And so that's something. Proctor's coming to pick up the equipment to Sunday. And so she could go, you could do it safely, right? You could find a place in your yard or something like that where you can be doing this and you can be socially distanced away from each other. You know, pamper yourself and put on your robe one more time and have the pride and feeling of that. Reflect on it. You can record kind of reflections of yourself like you've been doing, which is amazing, about how you feel, and have that as a memory too. And then also another amazing thing about this too is I want to compare your speech that you wrote then, whenever you wrote it a month ago, to your speech that you would write today. Because I think they'll be different. And I think a lot will be the same, but I think you'll be different, and I think your delivery will be different. And also with Proctor being actually physically there and encouraging you, and you holding you accountable to yourself really and being your best self, that's going to bring out even more in you too. Diane Miles talked about that, right? When you talk to someone when they're behind the camera, you have this different feeling. Have your, you know, little sisters sit in front of you and speak to them and like what you want for them, and they could be your audience if you want it, or you don't have to have that too. But like, that's who you're doing this for, right? Is yourself and them. And they are our target audience, and they are people who could benefit from seeing you and hearing your words and the inspiration that'll come from that. What are your thoughts now after hearing these women say those nice things about you?
I think it gives me more confidence to do it. I think the only thing I won't be struggling with is what to say, because like with the valedictorian speech, you don't get like, here is your topic, now write about it. And I'm someone who like needs like guidelines, like, okay, this is what you need to do, and then I can go from there. But like just coming up with something on the spot has been kind of a struggle, but I think I have an idea of what I can write about.
Do you want to hear ideas from us now to give you other ideas? Do you want to share the idea of what you can write about first, so we have an idea of that? What is the best way we can support you in this?
So last semester, I wrote this essay for my English class, my lit class. And in this essay is something that I want to be kind of similar to what my speech is about. Let me read it out. It's only the first introduction. I wrote, for the past few years, I have been lost in thought about myself. Who am I? Who are we? I asked every day, each time with different answers, and each time my thoughts would spiral into the abyss. With every college and scholarship essay question being, who are you? I stumbled into a panic, unable to recognize the person I saw in the mirror. I cried as I watched my neighbors accept and embrace the culture I for so long rejected, tucking and hiding away some of the things that shaped me. I hid the music and clothing that followed me overseas at age 6 under my bed, shoving them under along with the guy who carved his initials into my thighs. There are many things that contribute to who we are as people, and some may try to deny its place in our reflection. From the relationships we join and leave to the color of our skin, we are crafted through our environment and through those who are around us. Many go through life trying to find themselves, failing to realize there is no definitive self. We are constantly changing and evolving. So I want to write something similar to that, but I don't know.
I think that's very powerful, and it speaks to everybody, because when you're reading those college questions, like for the application, they're asking you, who are you? You kind of go through this identity crisis, like, who am I? And you word it so perfectly, and I'm excited. It makes me excited to hear the rest, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I really liked the way you wrote it. It was like really written really well, and I feel like it can connect with a lot of people, because a lot of like you guys are going into like a new like phase of life and a new stage, and like this like stage in life is kind of the opportunity for us to figure out who we are and who we want to be. And so I definitely feel like it connects with a lot of people.
And it's very, very poetic, the way that you write. It's almost like a song, which which is beautiful.
One of my main goals in all this is for you guys to see yourselves as I see you. And I wish I could just fast forward to that moment. And that's kind of why I want to keep pushing to make this happen faster so you can see that. Yusura, you're unbelievable. Your writing is unbelievable. Your story is unbelievable. Your heart, like all these things need to be shared with the world and can have such an impact on people. And I really think we're going to have a platform where you're going to be able to make a difference in young people's lives. You're going to find yourself 4 years ago so that they don't have to go through that situation because you'll be supporting them. Or when they do go through those doubts, that they now have resources where they will actually use them, because there are resources everywhere, but people don't use them. And so, because it's not coming from you guys, to me, it's not coming from yourselves. And so with that, you now are creating a platform and a vision for people to feel better about themselves. And again, don't need to be everything for everybody, right? We are focusing on helping young women of color. Don't be apologetic in any way about that. For you specifically, immigrants in this country, which is such a unique experience, your religion, how that affects everything, and just like those kind of things to me are incredibly powerful. And we'll speak to people that even aren't a part of them, right? The immigrant experience in this country is gonna speak to a lot of people, and you write beautifully. And what I want you to know that you can do is you're going to be able to speak beautifully and with power. And so when Proctor's behind that camera and you could have this thing typed out and you're reading it, but you need to get good at kind of orating and speaking. And what a good problem to have. You could take a college class in public speaking, which I think you maybe are taking one in communications. You're now going to have to do it for real before. And so going into that class, now you're going to learn more in that class. And like I said, and I'll find clips and show you yourself when you're powerful and strong, when you're talking. I'll show you when you're around these other amazing, powerful women, how you're taking the lead at times and like interjecting your voice because it needs to be heard and you know it needs to be heard. You have so much potential, and living up to that is something like a service that you owe to the world, in my estimation, and a service that I need to make sure that you get to. And I want you to imagine that. And I think this business does that for me, is the accountability factor of you having to look at how other people look at you is such a positive thing. And we want that for more people, and more young women who confidence is so often lacking. And so call it out in your speech. Talk about how you are not confident and this is difficult for you, because that's going to resonate with people. But then talk about how you are. I think you should talk about this experience somehow in there and say, we're building this brand, and you call that out, and that's going to be something that'll tie into. You're not making a sales pitch at the time, but this has been transformative. And so you're around other young women, and you are literally starting a business to change the world right now. And so it can happen that quick. In 1 month, you've made that. And then I think we find, where is your old video? Do you have that saved somewhere? Okay, so then I think we find that. And that's another thing too, is this is something that you can add parts of that old video to. You could even call that out about yourself. When I said this was my original speech, and I don't actually believe this. Like, this is something I said because I thought it would be nice to hear, but this is what I mean. And I think that would be powerful. I think that you can add footage from, you're a video production person. You can do this. You can add footage from news clips that we had of your students, of your peers. And so, Gabby can then be seen by the world and be excited about seeing herself in this video. Bring up your friends, which would be cool. Like, there's so much potential with music, and the impact that can have if you want that, or if you don't, you can look into that. So you have a really unique experience, I think, to make something better than you would do now just speaking it to an audience that, even at a graduation, audiences really aren't listening as much as they should be. And so you got screwed over by COVID, and you lost your senior year, which wasn't going to be kind of your thing anyways, the way you've lived your life. But there's such a huge opportunity in this, and an opportunity that falls right into your skill set, an opportunity that's going to push you to be your best person. I would want to work with you on this and help you make this the best that you can. The other members of our team will even do better working with you and making this the best version that you can. Like, there's no doubt. And that doesn't even mean it needs to all come from you, right? Let's have them talk about what you could cover and give you ideas so that you can make the decisions on it, but get feedback and grow bigger. And they have wonderful ideas and write really well too. You could even use quotes from people if they're written really well or whatever it is. What do you think, Proctor? What do you think could be impactful based on what you started with, but also just in general, that you would have loved to hear or know when you were, 14 or 15 or at whatever age of your life you needed to hear it? What kind of things could someone like Yusura say to impact your life?
I think just hearing that, like, it's okay to do what's best for you sometimes. Like, it's okay to be selfless and care about other people, but it's also okay to, like, take care of yourself. And that, like, some things in life that may seem like they matter the most don't matter in a few years. Like, sometimes the smallest things don't matter. And, like, it's hard to think about that at a young age, but, like, I don't know, something can mean the world to you now, and then in a few years it won't. And so, like, yeah, just like kind of those lessons or things I've realized.
I don't know if you want to respond to her first or if you'd like to hear my
You go.
input. Okay. Well, what I think will be really powerful about making a video about you doing your valedictorian speech will be like, you won't just be impacting people from NCAS, but it will be Denver schools across the board, and then internationally, because everybody was affected by this darn virus. The class of 2020 really got screwed over. But I think something that would really speak really loudly. I'm sorry. Fancy, calm down, please. David, come get her. Would be like talking about how your confidence has grown just in the past month, from like leaving high school and being a part of Mama Bird's team, and even outside of Mama Bird, just like how you view the world 1 month out, and then like how, like, being excited of how your view will change throughout time, and hoping that you connect with other amazing people that help you grow, and speak on that too, and make that kind of relatable for everybody who's in your shoes.
Yeah, I think, like, speaking directly to the people, I want you to know that I've grown so much in just 1 month's time, and that's possible. About changing the way you feel about yourself can happen. I want you to know that this is difficult for me to do, and this is way out of my comfort zone, but I know it's important because I've got big plans, and I want to literally change the world for young women, and this specific kind of young women. I want you to know that there's going to be bumps in the road, and I know that too, but with the proper support group, you can overcome anything. So kind of that kind of thing, like whenever you have any insecurities, include those and write those down, because there's power in that. And it's such a male thing, I think, to not talk about that. And again, we need feminine leaders, and we need female leadership that is empathetic, and that is caring, and that is vulnerable, and that is imperfect, and willing to call themselves out as imperfect. It's so much different than Trump, for example, right? Who lies about everything and boasts as an offensive tactic that doesn't help anything, and hurts things. And so you do have this platform. There's again, even if you're doing it speaking, then you can watch this and be like, am I living this? This is really where I want to be. And so it can be to yourself, like, do it for your young self, and so many others will benefit from it. And then also get in your mind that it does not need to be perfect. Again, it needs to be done, and your done will be great. You are amazing. You probably can pick apart your writing that you just read us, and I'm like, whoa, I wish I could write like that. Imagine what I could do if I could write like that, because I've got all these privilege and connections. But again, it's way better that you write like that, and it's way better that you're going to be able to speak like that, and you're going to own it. I'm going to find some of these clips of you speaking from these interviews, and what I want you to see yourself as I see you. so you can see the strength in it. And I do think timing is important to me. Like having this done sometime like next week is when I think we should do it. But I think that even if you did it right now and wrote a speech right now, it would be amazing. If you said the same speech that you did for NCAS, it would be amazing. But you're going to be able to do so much more than that. And you have grown so much in this short time. And you now see the way other people see you, other people you really respect and look up to, I'm sure, in different ways, see you and the way I see you. And if you ask anybody you know, anybody, they would kind of say the same thing. And so that's what's so difficult for me, having my life of privilege and being a man specifically, I think, and an American man specifically, where there's just this unabashed confidence. Like, it's tough for me to see that you don't have this, because I just want to, like, just do it. Like, to me, it's like, can't you just understand that you're wonderful? And so that process can be even more powerful for people, right? Because you are wonderful and you do have opportunities. You've got yourself basically a full ride to college. You are valedictorian. But what about the people, young women who don't have those options, or school wasn't easy for them? Speak to them, and what can they do, and how can they not give up, and how are you working to help them, and how can their voice be heard, and why should their voice be heard? There's so many powerful things that you can share with people that it'll take an impact. And the way you speak, and all of you speak, it's going to talk to people in different ways, no matter what. And so, and they're gonna feel it because it's real. Nothing you'll be saying will be fake at all. You don't need to touch any controversial subjects. I don't think you need to get political with this in a way that would expose you to risk in any way, or not risk, but in more kind of hatred. I don't think that that's something you need to do at this point, and just still get a platform again to be able to do that in the future when you feel comfortable doing that and really find what you're passionate about and feel comfortable doing that part of it. I think that this is something that, again, the circumstances have led all of us to a moment where we can really capitalize on, and you can capitalize on while doing amazing good for the world.
How long do you want your speech to be? I don't really remember how long a valedictorian speech is supposed to be.
I know our school had the rule of being at 3 to 5 minutes, but mine was like 2 minutes and like 30 seconds. It was like very fast, because I ended up with just like, okay, let me just get my point out of the way and then I'll be done. But I think with this new speech, I might make it like 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
I think people will consume that and listen to you for that amount of time. And even that statement that you just literally want to, like, get your points out of the way, like, struggle with the fact that it is a big deal, and struggle with the fact that this is the Spider-Man line, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, you've earned this right, and you owe it to yourself to give your best, and you owe it to everyone else to give your best. And I'm sure too, even the first version you have, which I kind of look as a rough draft, imagine, your teachers, how proud they would be of that kind of thing, which you probably revised, but that I'm sure it's still great. But I think that I know, even without hearing it, with the growth you've had with this group, that it can be even better. But I think that the more time, and that you want to put more time, because you've got a lot to say. When you want to, not when you want to, because I think you probably do want to, when you feel safe, you have a lot of things to say that the world needs to hear.
I also think that it's a very female thing that we not really feel apologetic, but we kind of going back to your statement about, I just wanted to, like, get it out of the way, like, own it, like, take space, take up your space, you deserve it. That's something that I'm working on as well, is like not being apologetic for the space that I take up. And I think that's something that we can all do across the board, is be unapologetic about the space that we take up, because we deserve it, to ourselves and to other women and our families. And that, yeah.
I've also noticed that I talk more and I'm more of myself when I feel safe. Yesterday Zerfa came over and the time went by like super fast. Like she was there for like 4 hours and we were just talking the whole time and we didn't even notice. And we were talking about like these big issues that were happening. And she told me like, you're the only person I could share my feelings with because you're the only person who won't judge me and who won't attack me for feeling the way I do. And I think I'm the same, mostly with her because I can like say anything around her and I know like I wouldn't be judged and I wouldn't be attacked for me as a person. So maybe that's something I have to work on, is not just being able to talk when I'm safe, but also taking that risk.
And rewatch this. That should be in your speech. Like literally that. Because guess how many other women feel that way, I'm sure, is almost all of them, right? And so that you're doing that and you don't want to, I don't know, your goal is not to be famous at all, and that this being shared to the world scares you, but you also realize that women feel this way across the world, and you feel like you have a platform now to make them know that they should feel safe and that there are people out there that will listen and not judge them, and that you're working on building a company that's literally the goal of it, to help make their lives better and open these doors for other amazing young women. And so like all those things, like you're gonna have, I think the problem is you're gonna have too many ideas, and to try to pare them down is going to be difficult. But whatever ideas you have are going to be powerful, and the collection of them is what the speech is going to be about and is going to be powerful. People aren't going to be remembering one specific thing you're saying, they're going to be remembering you and kind of the experience of it. And so I think that looking at that is important too.
With all of that, like it takes practice, just being able to like speak your truth without I mean, of course it's a scary thing, but it's going to take practice, not like holding it in. A good practice that I've been doing is speaking. I feel like it's easier to speak my truth on social media, and then I feel more comfortable speaking my truth in person. Like a family member made a sexist joke towards their another family member, and I went through this internal dialogue, like, okay, should I just laugh it off? No, that completely goes against what you stand for. You need to address this. And so I really fought myself to address it and speak it out loud, because everything inside me was feeling like that internal like tear, like when you feel like you need to say something but it's just like so hard to get out. Well, I said it and I made the other person feel uncomfortable with their sexist statement, and really helps them to like think about like, okay, that wasn't cool, like this isn't the 1950s. And on social media it's gotten easier with just quick responding, taking up space and not being apologetic and standing my ground. And I encourage you all to do that as well in every way, shape, and form. Having those difficult conversations with family and friends, because I feel like that's where it starts, and then jumping out of your comfort zone to speak to strangers. So whether that's in the real world or social media, and being unapologetic about taking up space, it's very important.
Okay, that is our time for today. So let's stop there. Okay, I'm going to stop our recording.